Alright, I am back once again. Been a busy couple of days here. Been out and about quite a bit, got a lot done around the place. We're more or less ready for winter, I think. Hope. But we had some official snowfall the other day, so that's been interesting to deal with. So yeah, and then some folks in my lobby there, they didn't feel comfortable being on a video, so we did some playing just offline for quite a bit there. They did some looting runs, found a whole bunch of goodies. It was a pretty good deal. But as of now, power is out power's out on the main map. So scavenging efforts to find more rigs for my solar system here are going to increase. Go. Now I'm going to do that later for you guys because it takes a while. Got 3 days worth of fuel. I found a new truck here too. I'm not sure which mod it came from, to be honest. I think it might be Motorist Zone. But I found it near a bunch of army units. Man, she looks pretty sweet, so keep it with me for a bit because I kind of like it. Just gotta find. Here we go. Find some sheet metal, which is gonna be right in here. So I'll do some more metal bars. That is one nice thing about the solar panel. Solar panels too is they do help, even if they're not enough to fully power the whole facility. They do help out quite a bit just by they just kind of reduce the overall stresses on the system. I'll leave you there while you fix that. Oh, I'm going to take this piece because it's a bit of a tank. I'm going to head to some of the self-storage units, see what I can find there. Yeah, I need my core on this one. Yeah, find some more supplies for solar energy. And then go from and then it'll be a case of and then organize everything in here. Love these little love this particular truck actually. It's based on those little Isuzus. You see them a lot for delivery companies around here, and some construction companies come too. Never seen one with a flatbed though. It's always the box van versions, but they're pretty nice. Like a lot of times, a lot of vehicles made in North America tend to be pretty overpowered in terms of engine size. Um, People make comments about, oh, imports are gutless and all that, but you really don't need a crazy amount of engine power. Gotta love the MP5. There's some debate if it's the best submachine gun ever made, but a lot of folks do enjoy it. And H&K has tried to replace it now twice, and both times it didn't really take. Did this weird, basically never got past prototype stage get up for the U.S. Navy, and they kind of looked and they liked it and all that, but then they kind of said, well, and then they wanted to go back to there, but they said, you know what, we're keeping the MP5s. We like our MP5s, we're keeping them. Yeah, no, the system there is pretty solid system. Also, some folks I've been playing with there, they were newer players, and so I got pretty good shooting to keep. I was basically kind of babysitting them for a bit, helping them out, and got pretty good at shooting. There we go. I'm gonna get the truck and have that to Jenny. One metal bar out of the. We knocked the gate down. They got knocked out one metal bar. Man, I finally found a few axes though, so there's that at least. Yeah, one of the mods there too is I can't remember what it's called. It's a it allows vehicle upgrades, primarily armor. So, for example, this little guy's got himself a nice bull bar on him. At some point, I'm going to be armoring up that windshield and side windows. Just make everything a little more durable. Actually, with some of these mods, with those upgrades in place too, especially the bull bars and armor on the hood, it actually makes using your vehicle as a weapon a viable tactic. I do have loot respawn turned on. It's a very long, kind of a long loot respawn, but it is there. This actually wouldn't be such a bad, not for the initial population. This is actually a pretty good place to set up a permanent base. Arguably better than the one I got there, but I do like the one I got there because it's right near the freeway, so it's, you know, access. You got the good access. Oh, with that, I can actually chain up those tires now on that truck. Which will make the tire, which that's increase their durability. Good old military entrenching tool. And some of those there got pretty brutal. I kind of like the some of the World War and II British ones they had there, where they have like kind of the hammers or the shovel head there is put on kind of a weird way. A bit of it's basically the shovel's on like a pickaxe head, so you can do kind of a sweep and pull type like motion. That short handle there, that's actually probably a better way of doing it because, yeah, digging with the short handle is, yeah. So I just went and said, well, you know what, you can't really dig with the short handle, so you can just chop and break up the dirt and pull it off to the side or push it off to the side. And a homer. And that, folks, is how you do it. I will say, though, definitely need gloves if you're going to use a crowbar like that. Because metal can be pretty slippery as is. And as soon as you go and get it wet, something kind of a little bit of a almost gelatinous quality to it. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, you'd be sliding all over the place with it. You probably want to do gloves. This is actually one I'd probably say if you're going to use it for fighting. You'd actually probably want to tape up. Probably want to tape up the handle. Should see here if I can figure out how to get this set up on my PlayStation there. Should record some Fallout 4. Yeah, if I get it rigged up on the my old PS3 too, I could probably fire up some Fallout 3, maybe some New Vegas. Yeah, not gonna lie, a little nostalgia every once in a while for the old school Fallout, the original Fallouts. My old laptop that I had way back when, it died away after 17 years of use, of all things. If y'all ever wondering how broke I was growing up, yeah, I had this little Toshiba laptop there for 17 years. And when it went, it went. It just, yeah, it finally died off. And yeah, no, the motherboard, according to the tech guy I took it to there, he figures the hard drive's still intact. So I'll have to go and get that taken care of at some point. But currently, but still, yeah, I had the original Fallout 1 and 2 on it. I'm kind of looking at maybe getting them from Steam at some point here, sooner rather than later, because they're pretty cheap. And they have kind of a charm to them that a lot of the newer games don't really have. You saw a bit of it in New Vegas. But, like, yeah, no, like the whole... But yeah, like Fallout New Vegas has, like, some of the original feel to 1 and 2. But 1 and 2 are very much in a class of their own. They're very, they're very weird. They have some moments in there that are just completely unhinged. The one meme there is going to New Reno and starting career as an adult film actor. Yeah, no, just weirdness. They have one random encounters, the bridge keeper from Monty Python and the Monty Python's Holy Grail. Yeah, mostly Fallout 2 is what I played there. Fallout 1, there was some graphic issues with it. My older laptop there, I had it on, had a disk drive on still, and the newer graphics didn't really get along with it too well. Like, yeah, so it's actually the exact opposite problem you'd expect to have with something like that. But yeah, no, so like there's some graphic issues there, but I was able to kind of plug through. Same deal with actually the original Far Cry, which when I could get it to work without glitching out, very fun game. Very different, again, very different feel to a lot of more modern games. And, oh yeah, no, a lot more sci-fi horror theme than in the newer games. I think they kind of went back to that a little bit with like Blood Dragon and a couple of their other DLCs, but not to the same level. Yeah, Fallout 2 there actually had a lot of stuff in there that was really... Yeah, they were playing around. Actually, Fallout 1 too, when they first did Fallout 1, because a lot of people ask about the 10mm pistol thing, like, and the joke is, oh, 10mm, it's, bigger than 9mm, therefore it's, edgier, bulkier, and all. But in reality, the time they made the first Fallout game, there was the U.S. Army, when they started doing like the preliminary stuff for it, the U.S. Army was kind of low-key looking at some new pistols. And one of the contenders that was doing pretty big was a 10mm. Didn't really go anywhere. I can pretty much guarantee by the time they had the basic writing done for the beginning of the game, by the time they actually started writing the game like proper and started getting basic graphics on board and stuff, that was it had already been basically discontinued, um, and you basically can't find it anywhere outside of Forgotten Weapons, which is a great YouTube channel if you ever want to really have a good factual chunk of history. I still maintain that a lot of gun YouTubers could really learn a thing or two from Ian McKellen, because a lot of them take their politics into it pretty hard. You know, like, sure, U.S. gun politics, but they divisive as all hell in the States. Out of the States, they're kind of the do not apply thing. But yeah, just because of the fact he focuses on just the academic side of it, keeps personal politics out of it, I really appreciate that. Because, you're not watching it for politics. Too. Most of us who watch gun YouTubers too. We aren't here for the politics. We're here for the weird and cool like firearms that are up there. Like, yeah, time and place for politics and all that. But anyway, yeah, no, so there was the 10mm in design when they first were doing the very first Fallout. And then the original Fallout 10mm was supposed to be an auto revolver. And I guess there was a bit of a couple wires got crossed with the original artist who designed the actual, designed it. And so he did kind of a hybrid of an automatic and a revolver for the first one. Which you can see some styling of actually in Fallout 4 with that Creation Club mod. Classic 10mm pistol. They have a little bit there that kind of is rounded near the one back in there. In the original Fallout 1 and 2, that was actually a revolver cylinder. But yeah, it was a really weird. Trying to think how some of those early guns worked. It's not recommended. Not really great for your health. And then Fallout 3 came along, and so they gave it an upgrade there, and they basically turned her into a Desert Eagle looking thing. So really punchier than the actual 10mm. This 10mm there was kind of a middle ground between the. It was originally a lot of the 10mm were designed actually for the FBI. They wanted something a little smaller and lighter than a 45 ACP, but they wanted a little more man-stopping power than 9mm. So someone being real clever mixed up the two and made the 10mm. And with the 10mm, some folks love it. Oh, I think that might be the army. And I think they might be at the shoot everything that moves phase of infection control, so I'm just going to stay inside here. They will do a number on everything outside, but I don't really feel like getting machine gunned again. Not a good way to end a playthrough. This one here is the expanded helicopter events mod. Yeah. Right, there they go. Need that later. Never go wrong with a bit of rope. Well, it's useful. Rope is right up there, one of the most useful tools you can get. Actually, Dungeons & Dragons too. A lot of the starting kits there include rope. Anyway, but yeah. So then Fallout 4 though with their 10mm. I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest. Both Four's guns actually all kind of have a similar problem, and that is, well, let's put it this way. One of the smallest handguns in the base game, apart from the Deliverer. The Deliverer is the smallest one, but then the next smallest one is literally the uh, 44 Magnum. You have to remember the 44 Magnum. Yeah, sure, compared to a lot of newer revolvers, is a pretty big piece. But in terms of guns, the 44 Magnum is huge. So, like, the fact that's one of the smaller guns is a little bit like, what the heck? Um, they're great if you're playing a power armor playthrough. Uh-oh. That's not the backup piece. My goddamn loot. My god. Down. Come on. Sit down. There you go. Man. I guess this is what it feels like to be a girl at FanCon. Yeah, I know, wasting ammo and all that, but sometimes you just can't resist. This is the downside with guns. When you have them, it's really hard not to find a reason to use them. But yeah, no, that was... Oh yeah, and then... Yeah, Fallout 4 there, the 10 mil, yeah, it's just too big. Too darn big. Like, if they maybe, like, chopped it down by, like, maybe size it down, like, to, like, 75 or even, like, 60-odd% of what it is. Like, the actual body of it. And just a little, and just keep the handle about the grip out the same way, it'd probably look a lot better. And then we're not even going to talk about the pipe guns, because, yeah. If you want a good depiction of actually a real-world pipe gun, check out the Sten. Actually, if you're watching the Fallout TV show, they have a Sterling in there, in the vaults. And the Sterling's basically just a modernized Sten gun. That was used by the British Army for quite a bit. But the Sten was basically designed at the point of World War II, right after Dunkirk, when the British Army was really hurting. They were running out of everything except people. They managed to get most of their army out of France, the Dunkirk evacuation, but they had to leave a lot of their gear behind. To a point that actually, where the German army in World War II, when they were advancing into Russia, was using a lot of British-made British trucks they'd captured at Dunkirk. But anyway, the Sten, though, was made cheap, and it's literally the most complicated part of the Sten. Those two most complicated parts are the barrel and the magazine. to the point actually. Let's put it this way actually, if you ever wonder how hard it is to make a decent magazine, um, if you were caught in Ireland during the Troubles with with empty magazines, it would be treated as having the whole gun, because lots of times the IRA was making basically, these actual pipe guns in garages and basements and stuff, but they didn't quite have the tooling to do a really half-decent magazine, so they'd be smuggling in magazines. At the beginning of the Troubles, it wasn't really an issue, because yeah, whatever, it's just a magazine. Some kind of firearms enthusiast with, accessory. Legally doesn't count as a gun, we can't do anything about it. But pretty quick on, it came out that, yeah, these guys were smuggling in just the magazines and building the rest of the guns in their little backyard workshops, which is pretty wild. Well, we think about it, they're like, damn. But yeah, like actually, one of the complaints about the early early Sten guns too, was magazine issues. The guns itself would function pretty well, as advertised and all that, but the magazines were what they had issues with, good reliable mags. So the one cliche about the people holding like the magazine in the Sten gun, not really a thing that was done, because if you jiggled it wrong, well, it was done and it wasn't done. There's two versions of it. So one, if you it was very delicate, so once you got it seated, if you bumped it or moved it or whatnot, it could get out of alignment and then it wouldn't feed. And the gun would jam. So okay, not good, right? But the other hand of that was some of them however, some guys found that if you had to hold it at just the right angle to get it to feed properly. So it's less of a holding on for support and more of holding on so the magazine works better. Those problems were solved pretty quick, rather than having to hold it steady there. So lots of times there you stick it in, then you just leave it. Until you get time to change. But yeah, no, that's one thing Fallout 4's gunsmithing too, actually. You can make all these pretty cool magazines for your pipe guns. They still have in 38, which is a pistol cartridge. And it's actually, it's kind of weird that there's so much of it, because all the guns, only guns that really used in the Fallout 4 world are pipe guns. But in reality, 38's kind of is really quite popular as a revolver round. And there's some automatics that use it too and all that, but it would be kind of nice if they had maybe 38 pistols or something lurking around that you could find. Even just a 38 revolver that you could play around with is an early thing, handgun. I don't need no gun to do damage. Those are just a crowd control thing. But yeah, I still think that'd be pretty fun to do, and that kind of get an explanation for why there's 38 ammo lurking around everywhere. Yeah, let's just get a bit of room here. But yeah, that little self-storage unit was a bit of a letdown. I was wondering if I should make a run somewhere else. See, there is a decent, I'm trying to know where there's a decent factory. Warehouse complex or something. Oh, bit of a drive, and it's kind of hard to find, but there's the Muldrug train yard, actually. Let's see if I track that down. Let's see what I got from that. There it is. Alright, so I want to go to the other end of town. Already hit these sections here. Actually, I already hit these. Yeah, there's a trainer right there, so I follow. Okay, cool. Quite a bit of an adventure. So I really need metal bumpers. Well, let's get a little bit ridiculous. Alright, she's a little janky, that's okay. A little bit janky. Well, firearms, yeah, it has killed people before, but what's the worst that could happen? You know, other than being torn limb from limb by undead monstrosities. But yeah, I do kind of wish they would have kept some of the... Oh yeah, and the assault rifle. We're not even going to talk about the assault rifle. There's lots of videos up there of firearm designers or firearm bloggers having mental breakdowns over that thing. It is, yeah, not gonna lie, for the design there, yeah, it's a bit hurtful. The worst part about it, though, is that in Fallout 3 they had their assault rifle. It's based off the G3. It looked good. It's another Bethesda game, so they have the model for it available. And for modifications, they already had parts for it already rendered. Because in the pit, there's something called the Infiltrator, which is an assault rifle. Basically, stock removed, and then a suppressor and a scope attached to it. So there you go. Now you have, and I believe the furniture on that one was a black polymer too. So you had now two different versions of the gun with parts that you could mix and match with. And let's be honest, modders are making some pretty cool stuff by mix and matching pre-existing assets. So they had it there. They just had to give her a little bit of a graphic upgrade. I know people said, "Oh, well, they can do that." But the T-45 power armor helmet is literally, that's what they did with that. They just took the helmet and they modified it, and they changed the program, beefed up the model a little bit, and then changed the programming so it fit on the suit of power armor. There was issues originally with some of the early versions of the game where it would accidentally be worn when you're out of the power armor. That was patched almost immediately. That was one of the first things they got fixed. But it was actually a known glitch that you could it still act like a helmet, and not like a power armor, part of a power armor piece. So they have all the. That's one thing, that they had all the pieces. They had this huge asset library they could pull from. I think if they'd done that, it would have helped a little bit there. Plus, then they had the weapon mod system from Fallout New Vegas, which is even more assets to pull from. I don't know, unless they let Obsidian keep the rights for it or something. Which you never know, they might have. But yeah, Obsidian's kind of a interesting setup. They kind of went the same way that there remains of interplay that kind of did the first set of Fallout games. Yeah, really interesting little studio. Just kind of fell apart though. They had problems of all different levels and all that. Yeah, things just didn't work out long term for them. And then after the Outer Worlds too, it seems like history's kind of repeating itself that way. It's kind of a pity. They are a pretty interesting group. I don't know, they're almost better off as like lore writers. They're almost more like, you almost want to have them on more as lore writers and like storytellers, rather than game designers. That's where they really excel. Like the original Fallout 1 and 2 aren't all that spectacular in terms of gameplay, even by today's standards. theoretically have all the train tracks. I should just pour it in. But like the reason like I still rate the Fallout 2 is like of course the one I'm really more familiar with. Fallout 2 arguably is one of the best Fallout games I've ever played, and it's not really all that extraordinary by gameplay, especially by modern standards. You know, it's isometric, top-down. Um, you know, people have done better pixel art these days, but it's got like a certain, it's got a little style to it that you really don't see. Like the style to it's more in the like there's a bit of the visual styling is pretty cool, but the big one though is the story and the quests you can go on and the all the little side stories and everything. That's what makes it really like kind of a special game. Um, and that's actually I think too what made New Vegas so popular too, because it's like the story behind the story, the options you get with the story are just amazing. Like yeah, the gameplay's slightly better than Fallout 3's, but not by much. Fallout 3's been criticized about the gameplay quite a bit. It wasn't great, especially for shooter. The mechanics for shooter weren't 100% there. It's kind of had moments where it's kind of janky. And Fallout New Vegas, yeah, kind of fixed a bit of that here and there. But really, what Fallout New Vegas had again was the massive story that made you feel like part of the world. And Fallout 2 has the same thing. Oh, and then one other thing Fallout 2 had too, that a lot of newer Fallouts have been lacking, much to their loss, is Fallout 2 had the you could go with a series of really convoluted series of quests. You could get a highwayman, which is like this looks like a Bel Air and some kind of like muscle car had a baby together, which is like this nuclear powered car that you feed small fusion cells or microfusion cells. What the hell? Okay. Anyway. And you could use it for like super fast travel. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Plus the fact we started up to this like turbine one, like an M1 Abrams. So like you're driving a car that looks like a 57 Bel Air, and like some pimped out muscle cuts, like even like 60s muscle car had a baby together, and it sounds like an M1 Abrams. Like, yeah, yes please. Like that thing was sex on wheels. Like I'd rather, not gonna lie, if I had a choice between a Highwayman and a Crisis, or anything from the newer Fallout games, I'd take the Highwayman any day. If you could get a Highwayman in real life, someone offered me a Highwayman in real life, I would scream. It'd be a, yes, I mean, yeah, sure, we're just giving stuff away. Like, that thing is gorgeous. Love that. The overall styling. What was that, drug lab? Oh, yeah. I think this might be that meth lab. Well, it's not officially a meth lab, but you know, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck. Oh damn. I like this better than Desert Eagle, to be honest. Son M500. Which, let's be honest, is... If you're gonna still have a shotgun, you're doing something somewhat nefarious with it. like, yeah, there was the stakeout, which was designed for law enforcement, but it's literally for having your car when you're carrying out stakeouts. Like, it has one purpose, and that's to be, like, small, to be tucked underneath the dash of a car. Woof. And pretty much everything else is either you're planning to do something bad, like assassination or something, or robbery. There's really not a whole lot of reasons to do that with a shotgun outside of that. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is some freaking bad shit in here. Yeah, if you want to do a little more forest type run too, this actually would be a pretty sweet place. Already got a really good fence around it, way up in the middle of nowhere. Lots of space for farming and all that good stuff. Be a bit of a run into town. And you would need a sledgehammer to take those gates as you drive in and either both drive in and build better fencing. You don't really have to worry about noise discipline at all. You're not gonna see anything. No, nothing's gonna hear you. And if a zombie does hear you, it's like one or two. I remember I was watching one fellow actually was doing some videos. He's actually one of the guys who got me aware of this game in the first place. But the lobby he was running, he was talking about how they had a few players, like 3 or 4 regular players, and the game would start and they would just disappear into the forest. And he would literally have to go and use like mod specific only tools to find them. So that wasn't the realize that was the train station. But anyway, yeah, but you'd have to use mod specific tools to actually find them because they'd have these little camps like hidden in the forest. You know, all made of stone tools. Like, yeah, oh yeah, they went full like primitive caveman. They pop out every once in a while to trade like homemade like medicines and stuff, and like scavenged food for like some basic building supplies here and there. And they disappear back in the forest again. And he's talking about like one of the groups he had in that lobby basically styled themselves as raiders. And these guys some of these raiders were actively hunting these guys for a while. Because they really weren't interested in the politics or anything like that. They just wanted to go and run off in the bush and have a good time. And so this raider gang was trying to track these dudes down. And never even got close. Did lose a bunch though to ambushes. Apparently they're pretty good at setting up ambushes. And you know, any raiders that pop, you know, anyone trying to raid them, well, you know, whose territory are you in? So you'd have these guys trying to be all sneaky and stuff. They're trying to raid, and they'd be, you know, eventually they'd split up and all that, and these guys would just kind of pop one off here and there. But the funny part is, though, the part of that always makes me kind of laugh a little bit too, is like, again, like you always get the folks there that do love, like, you know, like a little bit of griefing or whatnot. But like the guys they're fighting, literally, like the only reason they're being griefed is basically they didn't want to go and be around that kind of person. And the main reason those guys were going after him was that they were outside, you know, threatening range. If I remember correctly too, it didn't end well for that raider gang in Split 3 either. Combination, if I remember correctly, it was a combination of they pissed off literally everybody, so everyone got together and did the math and was like, wait a second, you know, it's like 3 or 4 guys with guns who are bossing everyone else around, and as soon as they go down, half the people with them are gonna take off. And we outnumber them, and if we pool our resources, we actually had them outgunned by a pretty significant margin too. And these guys got pretty used to walking around, waving their guns around, being jackasses, and strolled down the street right into an ambush, and proceeded to get absolutely lit up. And then afterwards, they found they couldn't walk back in because there's a number of complaints. They didn't exactly respond to it nicely, so they got themselves banned, or a couple of them got themselves banned. Talking smack to the fellow running the server. And everyone had kind of been tired of their shenanigans for a while at that point. But yeah, karma. Moral of that story is, as always, don't be a jerk. Because yeah, like you can run over people quite a bit, but there'll be a point there where they decide they don't really have a particular need for you to be around. But yeah, no, it's pretty interesting setup there. But yeah, not gonna lie, actually though, that side of gaming too is a lot of reasons I don't do I have kind of got out of online gaming, to be honest. It just got too toxic. Because like I'm more of a casual gamer. I play because I want to have a chill time and get out of reality for a bit. But yeah, as soon as like fights, if I want to go and have a really nasty fight, I'll go home for the holidays. Like, thank you kindly. I'll spend more than a couple hours with my parents. Like, yeah. if I want to have a fight with some folks who are very unpleasant to fight with unpleasant people, that's what I'll do. They're not bad. My parents aren't bad folks or anything, mind you, but I'm a very different person than they are, personality-wise. And so our personalities kind of clash pretty hard. Which, it is what it is and all that. But yeah, it took us way too long to figure that little nugget of information out, though. But yeah, no. We finally got sorted out and everything, but I damn near cut them out of my life entirely at one point. No, fine, all sorts of goodies there. A little bit of metal bars. Might be enough to make one or two more solar panels. Good old crowbar to the skull. But yeah, no, like the whole gaming culture actually is kind of weird how it's kind of almost divided to like two different camps for online gaming. You always have like the one group that just thrives off, I would say arguably thrives off generally like, knocking people down a peg for their own entertainment. And then you have another group that just wants to go and chill and hang out with the community. And it's kind of nice though actually too, because a lot of times the folks that just want to chill out and hang out with the community have been kind of forcing out, a lot of the places I've been playing anyway, have been actively forcing out the win at all costs, to hell with you, unpleasant comments about, various family members. that crowd seems to be kind of having a hard time adapting to the modern day. It's almost as if being a bit of a jerk makes you unpopular. But I had a buddy for a while there. We don't really talk anymore. Back when I was younger there, it's pretty rough. But anyway, this dude would actively try to use they had a custom emblem maker in, was it Black Ops? We called it Black Ops, and he would try to make as politically incorrect things as he could with just the basic ones there. And it got to the point where so many people were doing that the mods, like the moderators and such for that, couldn't keep up. Which is just, yeah, all kinds of messed up too. But yeah, no, so like, yeah. There are a lot of things there that I laughed at that I'm not proud of laughing at these days. Definitely had a bit of a life kind of changed around for me there. Like, there's a point there where you can kind of either double down on what you're doing. Like, there's a point in life there, like, if you reach it, where you look in the mirror, you don't like what you see, you need to, really, the only options are either double down and just embrace it, go full jackass, so to speak, or you can go and take a step back and kind of try to do your best to improve yourself. And that second one there is really, it's a really hard one to do, but I'll tell you right now though, if you keep at it, the payoff is well worth it. Feel a lot better about life if you have stuff that makes you not feel good about life, or mental health issues. Lots of times that self-awareness is, well, for me anyway, that self-awareness was actually what kind of did start getting out of the circle of friends that were basically enabling my downward spiral into a nasty little incel. And basically by trying to change who I was that way, being a little more open, a little bit nicer, try to be more of a decent person. Yeah, well, I stopped smoking weed. That was a big one, actually. I was spending upwards of just about $2,000 a month on weed. At one point, that was not good. But anyway, I stopped smoking weed, and about 6 months later, got my first girlfriend. Before that, no one really wanted to be around me other than other jackasses. And actually had my first kind of healthy relationship. But yeah, don't get me wrong, it ended and all that. We had a good 2 years and everything. And again, we were different people. Looking back, yeah. But anyway, and actually 2 years ago, it was 2 years as Halloween actually, because we got married. As close to Halloween as we could get it. My wife and I, though, got married on Saturday before Halloween 2 years ago. We had everyone over at a big bonfire, real hillbilly type setup, I know. But we had a big bonfire, had a barbecue, we did hot dogs, marshmallows, and the ceremony we did, formal but dressed for the weather because it's October. It's a Canadian October, an outdoor ceremony. And then we let everyone know, though, too, to bring if they want to, they can bring casual clothes. That's after the ceremony, pretty much all of us, we all got changed into casual, just like, casual for the weather and all that. Ratty old coats and jeans and all that. And then we just hung out and had hot dogs and burgers and just chilled out. And everybody had a really good time. It was actually really awesome. It was only about a dozen people, really small. But yeah, in terms of cost, less than $1,000. My wife, actually, she's into sewing. She's really artistic, to be honest. She does a lot of sewing, drawing, sculpting. At some point here, I might throw out some of her socials at some point if she wants me to. But again, that's her decision. Um, anyway, she made her own wedding dress. She's been collecting fabric for as long as I've known her. Like when she goes into like shops and stuff, Valley Village and things like that, if she finds like curtains or fabric cuttings or anything like that that looks cool, she grabs it. And so she bought this little black dress, and she didn't really care for it. It was a little too short, but it fit really nice everywhere else. So she actually lengthened it. She had some fabric actually very similar to what it was made of already, and then she had this purple lace that she did as like a trim on it, and it looks really good. I think yeah, she did a bunch of work on it that way, and she still has it actually. She made it for the purpose of having a nice dress to wear to special events, and the first one she had it for was our wedding. So, but like yeah, it's like a special event dress. It's pretty sweet. Um, yeah, really pretty actually. And then I had just a basic suit, nothing fancy. Which the idea was I'd have a suit for formal events going forward. And then I had a leg injury there. I put on about 30 pounds. So I'm slowly losing the weight. It's slowly coming off. It's being redistributed into muscle. Um, but yeah, that suit doesn't fit me anymore, which is kind of a bummer because it's a really nice suit. Um, really styling. Apparently, I look like some kind of hired thug when I'm wearing it. What's the description? Look like someone would say that I look like I should be breaking heads outside of a Glasgow nightclub. Um, which not the best compliment I've ever had, but yeah, what can you do? Hmm. But anyway, yeah, no, and so, but yeah, my wife and I, we've been married for 2 years now, and we've been together for 7, going on 8 years. I think it's 8 years now. Yeah, it is. Um, yeah, no, and it's just like, I'll tell you right now though, none of that would have happened to me if I hadn't changed how I was going about my life. Took a lot of work on my part, um, it's, and it's ongoing. It's kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type deal. And it's gonna be something I'm gonna be dealing with pretty much the rest of my existence. Which not the happy ending everyone wants, but it works out. But yeah, no, it was. Oh yeah, no, but like in all seriousness, though, I was right on the edge of being like little incel and all that. I basically ran away. I basically left home at what? I didn't officially leave home or anything, mind you, but I had functionally left home by basically when I was about 16. Like I was basically I was borderline couch surfing, which was an interesting experience. Not something I particularly strongly recommend. But anyway, yeah, no, so like there was some rough spots there, but it worked. It all worked out in the end. But yeah, I know. So like, but yeah, life has a way of kind of mixing things up on you. Got the stale food. I don't still cook with stuff there, but I want to get a decent compost heap going because, just like in real life, a good compost heap really pays itself off really quick. Yeah, for a while there too, when I was finding rotten stuff or stale stuff, I was grabbing it home for the specifically for compost. Let's try to get a seek in here. Yeah, so we got water in 2 of the houses. Got a proper gate. Got the start of a solar panel setup. We have a generator rigged. We're actually doing pretty solid. What I need now is just more metal bars. Actually, I think I got an idea. These picnic tables are correctly. Yes, you can break down picnic tables and get metal bars at them. Going for a little evening jog. That was actually something I used to do back in the day too. Should probably grab the little gen set unit that's parked there too. That's actually a pretty nice motorhome. One problem with these old motorhomes, the big problem, there's actually 2 issues. Well, no, 3 issues, I'm gonna be honest. Number 1, they're bloody big. Pain in the ass to drive. Number 2, that whole back half there is just one giant, you're basically a giant rolling blind spot. Make it a little interesting when you're turning or doing anything like that. And the last one is too, lots of times, because of the way they're made, they have a tendency to leak. Which, you know, isn't exactly called great. Actually, one of the reasons I know about the leaking thing too, is that I actually lived in one for a while. It's a pretty interesting time. But yeah, I know for a while there too, my family and I were exactly on the best of terms. And so they had this little cabin out across the yard from the main house there. No running water, wood heat. Eventually we got wiring in. I gotta go and check out one mod here. Eventually though we got basically went down to an extension cord run out there. Yeah, basically I just spent like from about 12 onwards, I basically just lived out there. Because whenever we were in the house together, we just start bickering and fighting and being jackasses to each other. But you know, faults on all sides there. Like, I'm not gonna pretend I'm some little angel. I was a bit of a, I was a dick. Let's be honest, if I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, no, so we lived out there. It was a pretty good setup. And then anyway, we had the floor start rotting out. And so I ended up moving to a motorhome and the replacement because, like, yeah, like literally the bed fell through the floor. Um, Oh yeah, no, it was a mess. I went in there actually a little while ago too, back in there to do some work at my parents' place, help out some stuff because they've got some stuff going on in their life, and frankly, my petty little, they got some stuff going on in life that goes beyond, that really overrides any previous bickering and stuff we might have had. Um, yeah, some pretty heavy. They had some pretty heavy stuff going on. But anyway, so I've been helping them out quite a bit this last couple of years. So, and last time I went in that cabin there, I had to go and take in plywood and put it down on the floor because yeah, the floor is pretty much gone. So not these big tables, but like the old school like wood ones. But yeah, no, so the floor is pretty much gone in there. Unfortunately, it's a real shame too. We cheaped out a little bit when we were building it too. I helped my dad build it way back when. We kind of cheaped out a bit when we were building it, which is a huge mistake looking back. But basically, we just used it was just gravel. It was a wood beams, the concrete blocks on top of gravel. And to keep rodents out, we bounded the gravel up around the edges. And we really should have done, hindsight being 2020 and all that, is used a solid concrete floor. If we'd done a solid concrete floor, like slab floor, and then worked off that, we would have been just fine. It would have been perfect. But it's a great hindsight 2020. But yeah, we saved about $300-400 doing it that way, and about a week's work. No, it would be about 2 days' work for pouring the slab. Just pouring concrete slabs. Actually, honestly, the real time-consuming part of pouring concrete slabs yourself is setting up your formwork. Because concrete needs decent form in order to actually stay in shape and all that. And anyway, yeah. So like you got to go and really take your time on your formwork. Like if there's a project where everything needs to be perfect, it's while doing concrete formwork. Like every hour you spend making your formwork nicer is countless time you're going to save later because you want to fix something that, or in some cases you just have to live with it and fight with it, which is even worse. That's actually one thing too that I learned when I was younger there. Actually, we reused it actually not too long ago too. This is about 4 years ago now? Jesus, I'm getting old. Anyway, my wife and I just moved into the place we're living at right now. And right at that point, she was still my fiance. And we had this little 5-acre hobby farm. So we were kind of chilling out there. We figured that chickens would be kind of a nice addition. You know, fresh eggs. And we grew up, both of us, my wife and I grew up on farms. And, like, there's something about, even if they're not producing eggs or whatnot, chickens are it's almost like having pets, to be honest. In terms of how, like, we would view them. Like if you have like kind of a bit of a farm going, then you have chickens. That's just how things work. I know, it's kind of more of a mental thing, honestly, more than anything. But, 1950 Chevy. Back when they used to know how to make sexy trucks. Anyway, so yeah, we built the chicken coop before we ended up building a chicken coop for them. The old one that was on the place we moved in was pretty. It's actually next on my demolition list, to be honest, for the spring coming up here. Both because it's falling down, and also, as far as I can tell from the previous owner's maps, it's either on or partially on septic tank that we need to get cleared out, and we need to get that cleaned out sooner rather than later. So, I'm gonna have to, come spring here, I'm gonna be ripping that down, then doing some exploratory, go with a shovel and do some digging underneath it, see if I find that tank. And then pop the lid off and see what we got in there. Because, yeah, it's been far too long. Don't get me wrong, it's been under pretty low. It's been pretty low impact for most of its existence, but it'd be nice to see it and do a bit of an inspection. When I first moved in here too, my dad and I ended up doing a whole bunch of work in this place. We basically updated about half the wiring to the modern standards, and then we also had to replace basically all the plumbing. We started looking at it, and we found so many leaks and problems that we ended up just replacing the whole mess. I think what we kept there was the intake pipe off the well, but then that well was a more recent addition, so it was in a lot better shape than the rest of it. But yeah, I think that's what we kept there, was just that one pipe coming off the well. New hot water tank. We got something called an iron filter, because we have a lot of iron in the concentrated type of iron in the water. And basically when we moved in, the water was borderline undrinkable. Like, it wouldn't kill you or anything like that, but it just, part of it would be the chemical reaction when it met air. It produced this like minute quantity of H2S gas, or hydrogen disulfide or something like that. Anyway, it's like a sulfur-based gas, and smells like rotting eggs. Super small amount because we can still smell it. It's just one of those really terrifying things where one of the effects of H2S poisoning is that it burns out your sense of smell. So lots of times you'll get cases where people think they might smell rotten eggs, and then they don't, and they're like, oh, okay, I must have been in my head. And shortly afterwards they get gassed, and that's the end of it. So like, the fact that you can smell it there means it's not lethal. If you can smell it, it means it's not lethal yet. But anyway, it's just super minute quantities, but it was just nasty, and the water would come up yellow. We're actually going to be installing a water softener probably sooner at some point too, because it's got a huge amount of lime in it. We actually have one. The previous owner had a water softener. We just got to go install the darn thing. Or reinstall it, because it ended up going off the side when we redid the plumbing. Yeah, we did so much work in this place. It literally has blood, sweat, and tears. Tears put into it. Yeah, no, it's where I crippled my leg. I was working on it. Oh yeah, no, wife and I both gotten very good at repairing various appliances. Lots of times I'm working all over the place, so I'm not necessarily home all the time. So there's been a few cases there where she's had to kind of be the one to step up and fix things when they went all sideways. She's actually been really, really good at. Yeah, no, so... Yeah, no, so that's actually the next year too. One of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be digging around the edge of the house, jacking it up, lifting it up a little bit, and then pouring a new concrete foundation under it to help rodent-proof it. Yeah, no, so it should help actually with our heating bill in the winter time. And yeah, well, and should help with our rodent problem too. Because I kind of worn out a pellet gun at one point there. Dealing with pack rats and squirrels. And like, honestly, I don't like doing stuff like that. It's brutal. And like, if they were just living off in the wild, if they're doing like, living their natural life and everything in the wild, I love the little guys. They're adorable. Even pack rats. Pack rats look like ghetto chinchillas. They're kind of like if the chinchilla found meth. But they're pretty cute in their own way. But they have a tendency to steal stuff, hence the name Pack Rat. They also have a thing where when they find a new territory, they vigorously mark it. Um, and sometimes it feels like they destroy everything they can, and what they can't destroy, they urinate and defecate upon. Which is, yeah, real grody. But yeah, actually, there's a lot of stuff here. This place here too had a lot of antiques and stuff on the property when we moved in, and a pretty big chunk of them we actually had to throw away because the pack rats had just got to them and they made such a mess that it was basically unsalvageable, which is really depressing. But yeah, at one point there, we're going through it, through some of the outdoor like storage buildings and sheds on the property. Um, we literally would have two piles, and one was stuff that could be cleaned or fixed, and the other one was stuff that is literally a biohazard that was going to be going up to the dump. And all told, I've taken out just about close to 10 tons of various garbage and debris out of this place. It's been an experience. And actually, coming up here, I got another just about half a ton sitting by this, sitting here waiting to be shipped off still. Alright, no more jumping off those. To be fair, the first time was kind of an accident, so. Let's put you right here for now. Let's move it later. Anyway, I'm gonna sign off here. Been kind of a longer episode. So I'm gonna try recording a little more often, work permitting. But yeah, it's been good talking to you guys. And anyone wants to have any comments or anything like that, feel free to leave them. I love hearing from you guys. And I'll talk to you all later. All right, and peace.